Good evening. I want to welcome you to another segment of the Jermaine Brown Sports Talk Show. Today is Sunday, September the 24th, 2023. I'm glad the summer is over. Now it's autumn or the fall, as also known as the fall here in the United States. And I'm just glad the summer is over. Hopefully, the hot weather is over as well. I got three topics that I want to get into tonight. So this might be a little bit more of a lengthy show tonight. And the first well, there's three topics. I'm gonna start with Stephen A. Smith, Mad Max Kellerman. The second topic is going to be about Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes and their loss yesterday, or should I say the mollywhopping they took yesterday and why that's very important. And the third one is going to be about my beloved New York Jets. So let's start with Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith. I wasn't certain if I was going to talk about the issue between these two or the conversation that's been going on recently with Stephen A. Smith when he go on these shows or podcasts or whatever. One of the first questions that he's always asked is about Max Kellerman, and he would always give an answer. And he was always like bad mouthing Max, like, and he was doing it in a way where he was like, "Well, we were winning, and I'm about winning," and I'm like, "You're about winning? What are you talking about? You was winning in the ratings. You were number one in the ratings, and it wasn't close. First Take was number one. It wasn't even close. You was nowhere close to Skip and Undisputed. I mean, you was far away. Skip and Undisputed was nowhere close to you. So I didn't know what that thing about you wasn't winning nonsense that you were spousing. And then he would always come with some other excuses and stuff like that. And he would always say, well, I don't hate Max Kellerman, and yada, 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 yada. But after a while, it became like as if you do hate him because you always felt the need to badmouth him. And I always said that, you should stop doing that because just because someone asks you a question does not mean you have to actually answer it. There's no rule that states you have to answer it, and there's no rule that states you have to give an honest answer. Sometimes knowing how to deflect would be the smart move. Like I give you an example. You say, okay, Jermaine, what happened with Max Kellerman on First Take? Well, I prefer not to get into that. What's done is done. We moved on. I hope he's in a good place and I wish him well. I'm sorry to see that, he got fired from ESPN or ESPN let him go. And I wish him well. And so I really don't feel the need to keep just rehashing what took place on First Take. What happened, and I just want to move on. Instead of him saying something like that, he felt he needed to give some reasoning or some excuse. And to me, it wasn't making Max look bad. It was making Stephen A look bad. Because after a while, it was like now the people who were in the camp of Max said, you know what, enough is enough, particularly a Terrell Owens. And when Terrell came out there and stated that the reason, and everyone privately knew the real reason why Stephen A got Max off the show, it wasn't because they were falling in the ratings or Max wasn't good at what he did or whatever like that. The real reason was because he couldn't handle what T.O. said about him and about Max. Because there was a topic about Colin Kaepernick and the workout that he did in Atlanta, and the NFL was mad at Kaepernick for switching the venue and all that stuff, which that's another topic for another day. And Stephen A went on to tell his displeasure towards Kaepernick by doing that because Jay-Z helped set up that thing and all this other stuff. Like, yeah, Jay-Z had all that kind of power and all that, whatever. But that's neither here nor there. So what happened was Stephen A took Kaepernick to task on Twitter and all that other stuff about what he did. So T.O. the next day on like First Take, or it was sometime that week on First Take, he got on there and he felt the need to respond. Like, wait a minute. And T.O. made the comment that Max seemed to be more blacker than Stephen A. And Stephen A did not take too kindly to that. And truthfully, I can understand. Because as a black man, I don't want to be told that some non-black is blacker than me. That's going to prick my ego. I'm going to just be really honest with you. So I knew then when T.O. made that statement, Max was as good as gone. Because why? He was now a threat to Stephen A. Smith. Because Stephen A. could not afford to have this non-black, and I got to keep it PC for YouTube because I don't want to get the video to get banned, but we all know what we're talking about, that this non-black is considered blacker than me. That's not gonna work. That's not gonna play well. And so since I can't get at T.O., all I can do is ban him from ever coming back on the show. That's all I can realistically do. But I can't really get back at T.O. I got to get back at Max. Because why? I work with Max. So I understand why Stephen A. wanted Max gone. But the thing is, you don't keep harping on it. You don't keep talking about it. That's where Stephen A. made a serious mistake. Because when T.O. politely reminded everyone the real reason why Stephen A. got rid of Max, it made Stephen A. look even smaller. And so then Stephen A. and T.O. started going at it, and Stephen A. trying to threaten T.O. And like T.O. had politely told him, I was in Colorado there at the game with you. You saw me. Why didn't you step to me if you really felt that way? Because, hey, T.O. was going to beat the brakes off that young man, and he knew it. See, Stephen A.'s not stupid now. Stephen A.'s no dummy. You can say a lot about Stephen A., but he's no dummy. He knew not to confront T.O. because it was not going to go well for him. So then what ultimately happened? A lot of people started taking sides. And guess what? It wasn't the side of Stephen A. Smith. Then Marcellus Wiley weighed in on it. And I thought Marcellus Wiley did it the best because what he said was absolutely the truth. He said T.O. was right. Now, T.O. wasn't right. T.O. should not have said what he said because we all knew, and what T.O. said was correct. So you can't say T.O. told a lie. That is how a lot of black people felt about Stephen A. Smith and about Max Kellerman. But T.O. shouldn't have said it because why? Max Kellerman was going to be the one to pay the price for it. And that's what ultimately happened. So Marcellus Wiley correctly pointed out that the real reason why Stephen A. Smith got rid of him was because, see, Max Kellerman was brought on board really not to take up black issues or to talk about black issues. What Stephen A. wanted was that Max Kellerman would do a lot like Skip Bayless, his predecessor, and just more or less nod when it came to the black issues, and he would concede that with Stephen A. Smith. Like basically allow him to talk about the black issues. That's what Stephen A. was hoping, but that's not Max. See, Max is not only knowledgeable about non-black issues, but he's also very knowledgeable about black issues as well. So this put Stephen A. in a bind because why? Max wasn't playing the role that Stephen A. had designed for him. And that's what really caused the outing of Max Kellerman. And the T.O. incident was really the straw that broke the camel's back, so to speak. When T.O. said what he said, Max was as good as gone. Let's just get it out right there at that point. And I knew it. I just didn't know, because I questioned, well, what was the reason why you brought Max on? If you know Max Kellerman, if you have a knowledge of Max Kellerman, Max is not the type of guy who takes a back seat to anybody. That's not how Max rolls, so to speak. So if you understand how Max operates, you should have known not to bring him on unless this was what you wanted. But it was clearly that's not what Stephen A. wanted. So now, and notice Stephen A. did not call Marcellus a liar. And he's smart not to call Marcellus a liar. because he would have gotten embarrassed further because these boys, they're in the industry, they know. They hear things, they see things, they hear things, and they know a lot more than the general public knows. And here's what I do know. See, T.O., when he said what he said, he wasn't just speaking for himself. He was speaking for other blacks who felt the same way, but had the foresight and the political game not to say it. But they all felt a lot of them felt the same way. See, Max, to be really honest with you, inside and outside the industry, amongst not only blacks, but non-blacks as well as executives in ESPN, they have more love for Max than they do Stephen A. That's the reality. Stephen A is not as Stephen A is popular with the viewing audience because he's loud and very opinionated, and hey, he's captivating. So he's going to get ratings, and that's the real reason why he's able to hang around. But he thinks he can walk around making all these demands about, oh, I want Max gone and all that. Okay, at the end of the day, yeah, you got what you want, but you don't have the power you think you have. Because the minute that those ratings start to fall or you're no longer as popular, you watch what they're going to do to you, and it's not going to be pleasant. I'm going to just say it that way. And I'm going to leave it at that regarding Max and Stephen A. Smith. Now, on to Deion Sanders and the Colorado Buffaloes. Well, really, Deion Sanders. They just took a shellacking this weekend against the Oregon Ducks. And I'm going to be really honest up front with you. I started getting caught up in the Deion hype train and stuff like that. And when Vegas put them as minus 21 underdogs, I'm talking about the Buffaloes, the Colorado Buffaloes and stuff, I thought that was an insult to Colorado. And when they were put as minus 21 underdogs, I said they may lose the game. I don't think they're going to lose by 21 points because they're able to move the football. Shedeur Sanders is really good, yada, 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 yada. However, little did I know, they underestimated, and I'm talking about Vegas, underestimated the Ducks. The Ducks, and I should have known better because the Ducks have been pretty good the last 10 years or so. They've been pretty good. They haven't won a championship, but they've been pretty good. They've been contending for championships, but they've been pretty good the last 10 years. But I consider them like almost like an afterthought because they haven't really won anything of note. So I consider them afterthoughts. But after the game, and really during the game, you started seeing something that you rarely see if you watch sports. Because usually when fans chant overrated, it's usually in the fourth quarter, late fourth quarter, once they know their team is going to win and stuff like that. But usually the chant of overrated takes place in the fourth quarter. I never seen it happen before the fourth quarter in all my years of watching sports. But I saw it on Saturday happen in the second quarter. They were chanting overrated. And you could see the vitriol, the hatred that the fans from Oregon had for the Buffs and Colorado and everything Deion Sanders. And I can't say that it's not warranted. I can't say that because anytime you come on another team's field and you step on their logo and wiping your feet in a disrespectful tone, what do you think is going to happen? Anytime you come in when the team was a 1-11 last year, and even though Deion had no part in it, doesn't matter. He came in, he revamped the whole program, and now he's getting more hype and attention than the team that had those successes like Oregon. You're going to have some hatred and built up jealousy. So that's going to happen. That's fair. And so for the fans to be chanting overrated in the second quarter said a lot. But what really stood out is when the fans started pointing towards their wrists, which they had on wristwatches. Because why? The week prior, Shedeur Sanders, the quarterback of the Colorado Buffalo, who happens to be the son of Deion Sanders, went and flashed a watch in front of an opposing team's member's face in the trash talking, an $80,000 watch. Now, you don't do that. See, when you start doing things like that, you're going to develop animosity, hatred towards you. It's going to happen. It's bound to happen. And so, and from my understanding, Deion wasn't the one who corrected Shador. It was Tom Brady who corrected Shador. Now that's insulting that another man has to correct your son on his misbehaving when you should have been the one correcting him. You're the dad, Deion. You're the dad. Be the dad. See, that's the problem when you're the dad and you're the coach. You're the hype man. You're everything. That's the problem. You're forgetting to do your main job, which is to be the dad. And as the coach, you should have never allowed him on the field with an $80,000 watch. Matter of fact, he shouldn't even been on the field with a watch. As the quarterback, what are you doing with a watch on? You're supposed to be setting an example. Let's just keep it real. You're supposed to be setting an example. You're supposed to be the leader of the team. Act like the leader of the team. Not only that, it looks bad that you're walking around with it. And we know you could afford it because, first of all, your dad have money, but now you even have money because of the NIL, and there's nothing wrong with that. I got no problems with that. But most of your teammates don't have that kind of money or don't have money. So it looks bad that you're walking around with an $80,000 watch when your teammates is not walking around with those type of watches. It looks bad when you're driving expensive cars when your teammates is not driving expensive cars like that. You can't wait till you get to the NFL before you get this stuff. You'll be in the NFL soon enough for you be able to afford all the glamour and glitz that you want. But while you're the college quarterback, man, it's overbearing. I'm sorry. It's just really a bad look. I'm just being really honest. You're standing out and not in a good way. But you see, here's the problem. And this brings me back to Max Kellerman. You know what I appreciated about Max? He told the truth. He said something that, and a lot of people, blacks, push back on it, particularly even on that show there with Max Kellerman, Keyshawn, Max, and Jay Will. And it was like it went over their heads. They didn't understand it. When Deion signed that contract with Colorado, Max immediately said, "You undersold yourself. Okay, you got ripped off. You got fleeced. You got taken to the bank. Go back and watch those. Go back and watch the video. You can find it on YouTube or Google it up. You can find it. Basically, he said you got taken to the bank." They could not understand. They said, "Well, wait a minute. He just signed a deal for $5 to $6 million a year, or 20. Oh, let's call it 30 million over 5 years, whatever it is. Oh, what a great deal." Max said that was not no great deal. Max said that was not no great deal. Max was one of the few people on TV to say that was not no great deal. Here, this non-black seemed to understood the finances. Oh, was it making more than he was at Jackson State? Yes. But okay, and I'm going to say it this way. See, Deion was a rich man before he even signed that deal. Because remember, he played in the NFL and he made millions. Deion understands money. And that's what makes this sadder and much more baffling. Deion understands money and the impact of money. So Deion said when he was at Jackson State, "I don't need the money. I'm good." Well, if you don't need the money, then why did you take this deal? I could understood if you needed the money, then taking the Colorado State. I know I would not even have criticized or fault you for taking the job if you needed the money. But you didn't need the money. See, yes, Jackson State couldn't pay you what Colorado could pay you, not even close, because they don't have the budget like Colorado. But now check this out. By you going from Jackson State to Colorado, here's what you have effectively done. You've cut off the pipeline of funds going to the HBCUs. That was getting ready to come. The advertising dollars, all that stuff that was coming, you help shut that off. Because why? Now, yes, listen. Before Deion games, HBCU games was shown on TV, just not to the level that it was when Deion was there, but it was still being shown. But the ratings, see, because Deion's is a ratings magnet. And when Deion was able to flip a Travis Hunter, who wanted to go to Florida State, that was Travis Hunter's dream. If you go back and watch the videos of Travis Hunter, to go to Jackson State, little old Jackson State, not another PWI, which is primarily white institution, but Jackson State, at HBCU, a 5-star recruit, highly coveted. This was unprecedented. This was historic. In football, this was historic. And this would have led the pipeline to other top 4 and 5-star recruits going to the HBCUs. And the PWIs could not have that happen. So this is where Colorado stepped in and said, we'll take him on. Because why? Look at the stands at Colorado. They were practically empty. They were practically empty. So what did they, because see, Deion was a threat at Jackson State. He was a real threat to the institution. At Jackson State, he was that threat. By removing him from Jackson State to Colorado, they basically removed the threat. Because why? Shedeur followed him to Colorado, but more importantly, Travis Hunter followed him to Colorado. So now it's going to be hard for the Eddie Georges or all the other HBCU coaches to go and get those 4 and 5-star recruits to come play for them. See, Deion did more harm than good. Max understood that. Skip Bayless understood that. That's why you think Skip ultimately had the falling out with Shannon Sharpe. Because he told Shannon to his face, Deion made a mistake. He should have stayed at Jackson State and build up his own institution. Build up your own institution. What is he saying? Now, Skip Bayless is white. He's non-black. And he was saying it was better if you built up your own institution. You don't need to build ours. We're great. But if you want the respect, build up your own. But Shannon Sharpe couldn't understand that. He was looking at the dollars that Deion was going to get, not looking at the dollars that Colorado was going to get. And that's the part that Max Kellerman was talking about. That Colorado was going to make far more off of Deion than Deion was going to ever make off of Colorado. Even if you tear up this contract and give him a new deal, Colorado will still be the winner at the end of the day. And that's why he said, you made a mistake. Because instead of that money going to the HBCU, which would have helped our institution, and I'm not going to say their because I'm black, our institution, you're helping their institution. You help make their institution richer. Because now an article just recently came out that the Deion effect is going to be, because remember, if Deion didn't sign with Colorado, Colorado would not have been able to make that move from the Pac-12 to the Big 12. The Big 12 would not have accepted Colorado. They were bottom feeders. Why would I accept the bottom feeder? You are of no value to me. But with Deion, wait a minute. Ratings, you're now of value. They said that Colorado, that the Deion effect could net Colorado up to $1 billion. One B, one with a B, not an M, not multiple M's, multi-millions. I'm saying with a B, billions of dollars. 1 billion, at least $1 billion, probably more. But all you're getting out of it is 5 to 6 mil per. That doesn't sound like a great deal, and Max knew it. Max Kellerman was right. Now you're hearing some blacks say, oh, wait a minute. Deion is underpaid. Max told you this back when he first signed the deal, if you would have just listened. Matter of fact, I didn't need Max Kellerman to tell me something that was plainly obvious. That Colorado was going to be. Why do you think Colorado's sitting there smiling? Because you know why? And the AD is hugging him. You think the AD is hugging Deion because he loves Deion? You think he loves him some Deion? No, he loves what Deion can bring for him. That's why the AD is smiling and hugging Deion. Remember, Deion wanted a job before he went to Jackson State, and no one wanted to hire him. That Colorado AD could have hired him. Why didn't he hire him then if he loved him some Deion? He didn't. It's how can we use Deion and how can we get the most out of Deion? And this is what they're doing. And now they got you for entertainment. They got Lil Wayne doing concerts before the game. That's bringing in revenue. Deion ain't getting none of that revenue. Colorado is. Matter of fact, they've already made the month. The 30. Let's just say it's 30 million over the 5 years. So and Deion didn't get all 30. He just got the first year of it. But let's assume he's going to get all of it, which he will. But I think he'll ultimately get more because they'll rework the deal because it's in Colorado's interest to rework the deal. But let's say they don't rework the deal and he just gets all the money he's supposed to get. You know the 30 million that they got allocated from him? They've already made that and then some. And then some. So they already got their money back before they even snapped the football. So if I'm Colorado, I'm smiling too, all the way to the bank. All the way to the bank. Oh, and when I get tired of you, when you're no longer of any use to me, you watch what they're gonna do to you. You could already see the remnants of it if you pay attention. If you pay attention, you can already see the remnants of it. And see, I'm going to say this to Deion. Words matter. Now you say, well, Jermaine, I thought you said you were supporting Deion. Yes, I am supporting him, but I'm not rooting against him. I am supporting him. But I see some fundamental mistakes that's going to cause Deion's downfall. And this is why I'm sending out the warning now. Words matter. Words matter. You can't say we're coming. We're coming means we'll be there soon or we'll be here soon. So we are here. If you tell me you're here, that means you've arrived. You're no longer coming. You're here. You've arrived. Then you can't say we're here, but then after you take a shellacking against Oregon, oh, we're 8 to 9 men away, and I told you that from the beginning. Yes, you did tell us that from the beginning, but you also just told us that you're here. So when you tell us that you're here, that means you can compete with the Oregons, the USCs, the Alabamas, the Georgias of the world. And if you can't compete with them, then that means you're not here. You're still coming. This is why you should not have said you're here. And don't think those words won't be used against you, because they will. Now this brings me to my last topic of the evening, the New York Football Jets. We got a problem. Houston, we got a problem. When Aaron Rodgers went down with the injury, I was dejected because I feared that what took place was getting ready to take. I mean, what is taking place was going to take place. There was a reason that the Jets sent their whole contingency. Everybody and their mother went out to California to recruit Aaron Rodgers. So when you went and you got Aaron Rodgers, that means no more Zach Wilson. But what the Jets failed to do was move off of Zach Wilson. Now, I want to start off and preface this. I am not blaming Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, I'm not putting the fault on him for the Jets' struggles. I'm putting it on the Jets. Because when you went and got Aaron Rodgers, you should have moved off of Zach Wilson because you told the world you did not believe in Zach Wilson. That's what you told the world. You told the locker room you did not believe in Zach Wilson. Okay? You should have moved off of him, but but you didn't. You didn't anticipate Aaron Rodgers getting hurt, but Aaron Rodgers is approaching 40 if he's not 40 already. And besides, anyway, anybody can get hurt. This is a violent sport. Even with the watered down rules, it's still a violent sport. So you should have had a backup who you at least felt good about, at least could hold the fort in the event that your starter goes down with an injury. Who could at least run a functional offense. The problem is you did not do that. You left just Zach Wilson in the room. So now when Aaron Rodgers go down with the injury, now you're forced to play the remainder of the season. And remember, he got hurt 4 games into the season. I mean, 4 snaps, not 4 games, sorry. 4 snaps into the season. He got hurt. He's out for the season. So now we got to go the rest of the way with Zach Wilson. The problem is the team does not believe in Zach Wilson. That's the problem. And so for any little mistake he does, it's holy hell. The fans are turned booing him. Everything is bad. Any little mistake. Teammates is going to him. They're yelling at him or talking to him. The coaches are standing there comatose, like, I don't know what to do. This is bad. And we're only 3 games into the season. We got 14 more weeks to go. We are in some serious trouble. The Jets did not plan and prepare properly. First of all, if you was going to get an old Aaron Rodgers, the first thing you needed to do was make certain that your offensive line is good. Because why? He needs to be protected. Because he doesn't move like he used to. And so now you're left. We got a problem. And now you see players cursing at the coaching or yelling at the coach. This is getting ready to go bad, real bad. And I'm going to say this to Robert Saleh, as well as the GM. If you don't get this straightened out and fast, the season can get away from you. And if that happens, Woody Johnson and the Jets, the media here, is not going to be so kind. They're going to want changes. Guys are going to start paying with their jobs. Even though it's not your fault that Aaron Rodgers got hurt, in a sense it is, because you didn't shore up your offensive line. And also it was reported that Aaron Rodgers didn't do what Aaron Rodgers was supposed to do, because it was supposed to be a quick slant, get the ball out your hand quick. Aaron Rodgers liked to hold on to the football. So the offensive line was not preparing for him to hold on to the football. So it's just a whole mess. And the Jets is a mess. And if we can't get this straightened out fast, it's going to go fast. See, unfortunately, there's nothing really Zach can do, because it's clear he doesn't have the support inside and outside that building. He just doesn't. And I feel bad for the young man, because he's almost like a sitting duck back there, and he's going to be the one taking all the blame, even though he really should not. It's not his fault because the Jets did not prepare properly. That's not his fault. This is the Jets' fault. And I just want to thank you for watching this segment of the Jermaine Brown Sports Talk Show. Leave a comment, a like, thumbs up, or whatever, click on the like button, leave a thumbs up, leave a comment if you can, hey, thank you.